Hello students, let's learn English together. Today, we are going to learn about the short story, Leaving by M.G. Basanji. This story is about Alu, who dreamt of continuing his studies in America. He was disappointed at first when his mother resented the idea of him studying overseas. However, after deep thoughts, his mother finally gave him her blessings and allowed Alu to pursue his dreams. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to describe the plot and key events that had taken place in the short story. Explain the physical and social settings of the story. Describe the characters and the characteristics in the story. And lastly, you should be able to list down the themes and moral values of the short story. Follow my instructions and you will be able to appreciate the short story Leaving by M.G. Basanji in no time. So what are we waiting for? Let's begin. Before we begin our lesson today, let's study the plot summary for this short story. In this section, I'm going to use dramatic structure to describe the events that had taken place in this short story. Exposition. Alu and his family lived in Uhuru Street, where his family owned a store. After his sisters got married, his mother decided to sell her shop and moved her family to Upanga, a quiet and remote town. She wanted her two youngest children to concentrate on their studies. Rising action. One day, Alu met Mr. Datu, who used to be his teacher. He had moved to America and returned home for a visit. He became an inspiration for Alu to study in an American university. In order to achieve his dream, Alu started researching about American universities and wrote to them to apply for a scholarship. However, his mother didn't like the idea of him studying overseas. Alu received replies from a university and received a prospectus. He was excited to see the world outside his hometown. At the same time, he also got accepted to a local university to study agriculture. However, Alu was not interested. Instead, he wanted to study medicine. Climax. Alu, mother and his brother had a discussion. Mother told him that she didn't have any money to send him overseas. Even though Alu was offered a scholarship, he also realized that he had to fork out money for other expenses. He told his mother he could take a part-time job to earn that extra money. Mother suddenly got angry because of Alu's determination to study in America. She accused Alu of being a disloyal son for wanting to leave her. Alu was also upset because his mother didn't approve of his dream of studying overseas. Both of them got into a big argument. Falling action. Alu finally accepted his fate and prepared himself to attend the local university. Knowing that her son was bitterly disappointed, Mother went to see Mr. Velji, the school's officer, to seek for advice. Mr. Velji was very impressed to see Alu's exam results. He told Mother that going to America would be good for Alu's education. However, he also mentioned that she might lose him if he decided not to come home. That night, Mother asked Alu to show her his university prospectus. After thinking about it, Mother finally decided to allow Alu to follow his dream. Before giving Alu her blessing, Mother made him promise that he would never marry a white woman, smoke, or drink. Alu tearfully promised his mother. Resolution. Mother received her first letter from Alu a week after he left for America. Alu had told Mother he was stopping by London to visit his friend. While reading about her son's fascination and newfound freedom, she wondered if Alu would ever return home. Now, Let's study the setting of this short story. The setting of this short story can be divided into two parts, which are physical setting and social setting. Physical settings. The first physical setting in the short story is Uhuru Street. It was a noisy and busy part of the town. It was located in the central part of Dar es Salaam, the commercial capital of Tanzania in Africa. This was where Alu's family used to live. They also owned a shop there. The second physical setting of this story is the town of Upanga. It was a very quiet place in the countryside with few houses and no street light. Alu's family moved there after mother had sold her shop. Social settings. The social setting of this short story is present-day Tanzania in Africa. In this society, education is highly regarded. For example, school officers and teachers like Mr. Belgi and Mr. Datu are respected and influential. The education system, however, does not allow students to choose their course of study. Life is hard for women and children. If a woman remarries, her children from the first marriage will be taken away and placed in a children's home. There are several characters in this short story. Let's study all of them. Alu. Alu was the youngest child in the family. He just finished his secondary school. He was a smart student. He achieved straight A's in the school exam. Alu has several characteristics. Firstly, he was an obedient and dutiful child. Alu was willing to give up his dream of studying in America when his mother disapproved of his decision. He also promised his mother not to marry a white woman and to stay away from bad habits. He wrote home soon after he left. Alu was also a determined person. For example, he wrote to universities in America in order to pursue his dream of studying overseas. He was also willing to work in America to cover his other expenses. Lastly, Alu was a resourceful person. He did everything on his own. For example, he did his own research by looking up names of universities in books to apply for his scholarship. Mother. Mother became a widow at the age of 33. She used to run a shop in Uhuru Street. Her physical appearance and personality changed with age. Mother used to be a pretty woman and smiled a lot when she was young. As she grew older, she changed to an old woman who always worried and seldom smiled. She also developed deep lines on her face. Mother has several characteristics. Mother was a loving and protective woman. When she became a widow, she refused to remarry for the sake of her children. She also gave up her shop so that her children could focus on their study. Since mother went through a lot of hardship to raise her children as a single mother, she was really possessive of her children. For example, she was sad to see her daughters leave home when they got married. She also did not want her youngest son Alu to leave her to pursue his dream of studying abroad. Lastly, mother made a lot of sacrifices for the sake of her family. For example, she was willing to let Alu to study overseas, even though she knew that her son may not return. The fact that she may lose her youngest son really bothered her, but she was willing to take the chance. The theme in this story is the underlying message, or the big idea. It is the belief that the author is trying to convey in writing. This belief or idea surpasses cultural barriers. It is usually universal in nature. When a theme is universal, it touches on human experience regardless of race or language. There are several themes highlighted in this short story. Let's study all of them. The first theme of this story is separation. As her children grew up and left the family home, mother experienced the pain and sadness of separation. The fact that Alu was leaving for America to study really upset her, as he was the youngest child in the family and closest to her. The second theme of this short story is seizing opportunities. Alu was given the opportunity to continue his studies in a top American university. He knew he had to seize this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity and worked hard to convince his mother to let him go. Mother realized this too. Even though she was reluctant at first, she eventually allowed Alu to pursue his dream. The last theme of this short story is the importance of education. In this story, Mother sold her shop and moved to Upanga so that her children could focus on their studies. In addition, Alu's determination to study in America also showed how his family valued education so that they could be successful in life. Moral values are standard accepted principles of life. It relates to the principles of right or wrong of a human character. It is also the standards of good and evil which govern a person's behavior and choices. In literature, moral values are important lessons from writing which we can apply in life. There are several moral values highlighted in this short story. Let's study all of them. The first moral value of this short story is hard work and patience will be rewarded. In life, we must work hard to achieve our goal. In this story, Alu was determined to further his study overseas. For this reason, he did his own research about the universities available and tried to obtain a scholarship to pursue his dream. His determination paid off when he received an offer letter with scholarship to further his studies from a prestigious American university. The second moral value of this short story is good education is very important. A good education will guarantee a better life. Mother realized this, which is why she sold her shop and moved to the quiet town of Upanga, so that her children could focus on their studies. I hope you have learned new things from this video, and I hope to see you again next time. Bye!